Alright guys, so welcome back to working on the 1970 Jaguar E-Type. I know it's been a while, but today we're going to be working on removing the independent rear suspension assembly, as you can see underneath there. And through these two axis holes right here, it's a whole cage that needs to be dropped down. So we're going to be using the lift today to help assist with that. The main thing though is there's so much weight in the back and not enough weight in the front. So the first plan is we're going to take off these two radius arms with the safety strap that's under here. You can see that. And then we're going to be taking this piece of wood right here, throw it underneath. That way you can slide it under, lift it up. And what we'll do first is we'll take both the tires, put them up here on the front frame rails. That's what we have the blanket here for. After that, we'll get the prop shaft, everything else out from underneath. We'll drop the rear suspension assembly. And after that, we'll be good to go. All right, let's get started. All right, so right here, this is the radius arm that we're gonna be removing. This pretty much make sure that the wheel doesn't keep moving back and forth. And then this is a safety strap, so if this comes loose, then that really makes sure your wheel isn't bouncing back and forth. Now you can see we got two bolts right here, two nuts, and then we've got one more bolt right here to take off the radius arm and the mount, and we've got a safety wire going through that. So that's what the safety wire looks like right there. So let's get that removed. All right, so now that these are disconnected, I'm gonna go ahead off camera real quick, get those straps disconnected, and then we'll be able to slide the wood under. And then once we come back, we'll be able to get the wheels off. All right, so here we are. We got the tires off, we got the wheels off, we got those muffler mounts off underneath the car. we were able to get the car up on the lift, and we were able to lift up the rear diff cage from the back. So what do we have left to do? Well, we're going to start off by getting this rear sway bar disconnected. We're going to have one bolt on this side, one bolt on the other side, and then some mounts in the middle underneath the car. So we'll get those disconnected. Now this car was in a flood of about 27 inches. So a lot of stuff under here is rusted and pitted, as you could probably see. So we'll do our best. Hopefully everything comes out in one piece. Another thing too, to make sure, when we take off everything here, you can see right there, there's a little grease nipple. I'll show you a little bit closer. Right there, that's a grease nipple. Make sure that we take that grease nipple off. Otherwise, when we go and drop this whole independent rear suspension system, that's going to touch, it can break, and that can cause a lot more issues than what we want. So let's get started. Alright, so we got all the mounts for the sway bar off. We got all the mounts of the sway bar off there. So now the only thing we have left is going to be these bolts right here, if you can see that. So let's go ahead and get those done. All right, it looks like we have the bolt that goes through, and then on the other side we have a washer, and then the nut. All right, so now we got the rear sway bar out. All right, guys, so we're back here now. We got that rear sway bar out. One of the links on the other side was being a little sticky, didn't want to come out, so we just took off the top link instead. We got the rear sway bar out. Now, what we're gonna do real quick, just to prevent any damages, is we have this grease nipple right here on both sides. So we're gonna go ahead and just take both these out. That way when we drop the whole suspension assembly, it doesn't get crushed, doesn't break anything else. So let's go ahead and do that. So all these hoses are gonna get replaced. We tried, couldn't get it, so we're just gonna end up cutting this line right here. All right, so we were able to free up the rear diff and get this prop shaft moving. We were able to get half a revolution out of it, so now we can get these 2 bolts. We already did 3. All we have is 1 left, so let's get that one done. All right, so now I can see prop shaft has been removed. All 4 bolts pushed back a little bit further that way, just to keep it out of the way. So what's left? All right, looks like we might have to remove this one assembly right here for the handbrake or the parking brake. So let's get started on this right now. See if we can remove this easily. If not, we'll figure that out when we start lowering the assembly. All right. All right, so here we are underneath with the parking brake right here. So we got it disconnected. Now this is your parking brake cable, which goes to this. Now this long bolt right here is what had to be removed. So that bolt goes through this block, and you see there's a gap right there. You see that gap right there? I don't know if you can see it. There's a gap right there. There you go. There's a gap right there. That's where the cable slides through. And then this pin right here, this hole and slot, goes where that pin is. Now everything was so rusted that this bolt took forever to spin loose, probably about half an hour. So this is 17 millimeter right here. This is 22 millimeter right here. And that just goes right in and out of that block. So everything in here is disconnected. Alright, so I was able to get the other one out by sticking this in the trail arm bushing, just because how rusted and rotted and pitted this is. They're not very easy to get these bushings out right now. What I was able to do is I was able to put this inside the bushing underneath and just kind of slowly pry it back. So let's see if that'll work right here. So we're gonna be going for this bolt. There's another one, the exact same one like this on the other side. And there's gonna be a nut right here. You can probably see. Right there, we're gonna go for that one. So those, the access for those are gonna be a little bit easier. So first we'll take these out, and then they'll still be supported by these. We'll take these two out on either side, and then we'll come back. We'll do those in the middle, and then very carefully, very slowly, we'll lower it down, make sure everything's good to go. All right, so let's get started on, we can get started on this side. All right, so this side's all done. All four taken out, and these two inside are loosened. That way it'll be a little bit easier once we get the other side down, and then we'll loosen them, drop them, and be all set. So let's head over to the other side. All right, so now all four bolts on both sides are out. All we have are these two inside bolts that are inside the carriage. So we'll remove those 2 bolts, those 2 nuts on either side, and slowly lower this down, and we should be all set to go after that. So let's get to it. All right, well, there's the whole independent rear suspension assembly, and there's where it came from. So thanks for following along, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.